Hey Thor, I've got an interview coming up next Friday for a lecturer position in computer science. I'm
Nice.
excited but nervous. I have to do a presentation on how I would go around creating a class presentation for OOP. Any input?
Making a class presentation is like, basically think about it this way. If you could sit down and teach yourself how to do the thing, do it. Do it that way. Like, if you're teaching yourself, what have you learned that would make it easier for you to tell yourself at the beginning of your journey? If you didn't know the things you know today, if you could go back and tell yourself how things work, that's how you do a presentation. It's the easiest way to do it. That is the easiest way to do this. Yeah, I have Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Whenever I want to teach anything, whenever I want to learn anything, I tell Dwayne, my pet rock. There he is.
I am 29 years old and in September I found out I am in heart failure. It is a rare genetic condition called congestive heart failure, CHF, the same disease that took my father 11 years ago. I am trying to get on transplant list. There is more optimism for me since there has been so much advancement in medicine.
There has been.
I have picked up golf and planted aquariums as hobbies since I am now disabled. Any tips have squeezed a little bit more of life I have left?
Spend all of it like it's your last day, dude. That's a really terrible thing to be on. Being on a transplant list that young is very difficult. And I'm sorry that's happening to you. Legitimately so. I wish there was anything that we could do for you. And only thing I can do is say, hang out with people, enjoy your time, spend your time as wisely as you can. You know? That's about all you can do. And that's it. That's a really... Staring at mortality in the face is one of the scariest damn things you can do. Everybody wants to live forever, but... You know, none of us will.
How Thor, I've asked you a lot. I have autism. I hear you talk about AD. What are your thoughts about it?
About ADHD? I think a lot of the times people with ADHD just need to find a different way to pose their work to themselves. So a person with ADHD, if I know that one of our staff members have that, I will give them a gamified version of the task, which is something that gives them immediate feedback. I find that if you give somebody with ADHD a task that gives them immediate instant feedback throughout the task, they will do it faster than a person that doesn't have ADHD. That's it. And it makes it very easy to work with people that have that. It makes it like really compelling for them. Everybody wins.
Hey Thor, what advice would you give a fellow tech industry pleb that, after nearly 20 years of experience, can't seem to find the motivation to get various certifications? I've failed the CISSP and it killed the motivation I once had.
I really wouldn't take it as that. You get an opportunity to understand exactly what it is that you're missing, man. Like, go and try again. We go again, right? You learned what you were missing. You do get to do it again.
Hey Thor, good morning. Would you recommend the Google Cybersecurity Cert, or do you think it's not worth the time and money, and that people should just stick to Hack the Box, or both? Thank you, dude.
I have never had somebody get or not get a job based on them having a Google Cybersecurity Cert. That being said, would it give you a whole bunch of concepts you were not exposed to prior? Likely. And that may be very beneficial to you. So do keep that in mind. I don't think that's a make or break on a job application, but I do think that it could be helpful depending on your knowledge base. So generally all I would say to get, if you want to get an offensive security, is Net Plus and Sec Plus, and you go from there.
What tips do you have for someone who is trying to learn to code but gets discouraged when I start trying to learn?
Generally, the only reason that I find that people get discouraged is because they start measuring themselves against other people's skill level. And you go, I should be faster than this because that person over there is faster. Stop it. Stop doing that to yourself. Judge yourself based on where you were a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. You'll find really quickly that you have more capacity to learn than you could imagine when you get out of your own way and stop trying to judge yourself based on arbitrary metrics that were defined by other people's progress. Stop it. Work on your own shit. Judge yourself based on your own actions and your own progress. Nothing else.
Hey Thor, I've been trying to quit smoking weed for a long time now and always appreciate your thoughts on things. I have ADHD and have been self-medicating for a long time. It's maladaptive to the life I want and feel like I'm going through life getting C's and B's when I could be getting A's. Any advice would be really helpful.
Talk to a doctor. If you're on a substance and that substance in any way is being a detriment to you and you moving forward, you need to talk to a professional. And that's the way that it works, right? No matter what. And don't feel like you're a piece of shit for doing that. And don't feel like there's no detriment that can happen from doing weed. Because if all you're doing is sitting at home doing nothing and smoking weed, you're not doing anything else, right? That's just how that goes. And I would talk to a professional to try and get help for that. And you're not, like I said, you're not a piece of shit for that. Things in moderation are fine, but that can get out of hand. And it sounds like it's getting out of hand for you. Seek some help. Nothing wrong with that.
Used for
4.
anything,
Glad I
high
caught you
level,
on stream.
potion
I
wise.
need some advice.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm
Shadow,
22,
the
and this winter
protection.
was my first semester for a CS degree in Finals IN. But I felt like it was mostly busy work, and I'm worried about accumulating debt once I transfer to a 4-year university. Do you think it's an okay path to learn CS and programming through self-teaching?
Yes,
I'm
I do.
worried about jobs not even looking at a portfolio I would make. Or do you think it's worth some debt for a degree to get some job security?
Honestly, one of the biggest problems is a lot of people are incurring debt and then not getting into the industry anyway. I would start applying for stuff, start building up a body of work, and if you feel like you can apply for jobs based on the body of work that you have, then drop the classes once you get a job. Like, don't build up a huge amount of debt, but do keep going to school, is generally how I feel it. At the same time, start applying for shit immediately. I'm self-taught. Yeah, I'm self-taught as well. But that being said, there's risk that comes with that, man. I would do both sides of that equation. Do both sides of it, don't stop doing it, and do not stop yourself from, or honestly stop yourself from getting into massive debt. It's too easy for people to get into massive debt.
How's it going? 4. Being one of the long hair club, what's an awkward, inconvenient,
realms
or
go
annoying
away
long
after
hair
the
issue that's
anniversary?
made you say, really? Out loud, for example, I've got my hair stuck in the car door and or window multiple times.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I really have a long hair issues, I guess. I don't ever get my hair cut in the door. I'm like really meticulous about that, right? I think the only thing is I shed a lot in the shower. And then I create a tiny mini-me. And one day it will replace me. There's that.
Yarcheer 500 Hey 4, could you break down map making in GameMaker into digestible steps for me? I have had it's very overwhelming for me, especially since I've never ever made a proper map on my own before, especially considering I have 0 assets for what I want to make. Thank you so much. Map making is what causes me to lose motivation in all of my projects.
Map making in GameMaker is actually pretty easy. One of the things I would say is don't start with the engine. Ever. Start with pen and paper. I build everything in pen and paper first, and then go from there to building stuff in engine, because you're wasting a ton of time if it turns out to not work in the engine. Do it all on paper. Make it feel good. That's the best way to do it. GameMaker is easy because it's like you just make a big room and just kind of place tiles. Very simple. Like, not really difficult to do, honestly. But you want to have that all done in a way that you're just kind of, where the Legos go, if that makes sense.
Hey Mighty Goblin King, the first recently began a course in coding and I have learned some HTML and CSS now and recently started on learning JavaScript, and my brain don't understand it and am losing motivation in learning since I'm struggling to understand, so I was wondering if you have a motivational speech to help me get through it, cause I really want to learn coding.
If you really want to learn it, stop being so hard on yourself. You're putting arbitrary goals on yourself that's making it so that you feel like you need to know it now, and it's too difficult, so you feel stupid about this. Everyone feels stupid. All of us. It takes time to learn this shit. And if you're sitting there beating yourself up all the time, you're just slowing down your own progress. Stop it. Focus on learning shit, not focusing on how long it's taking you to learn that shit. That is irrelevant. That will always be irrelevant.
For Lord of the Slinky Cat, I've been back tobying a Gov employee post-Navy, working as a Don contractor for a few months now. I'm working on sonar and torpedo systems, which is what I did in the Navy, and I really understand the hardware, but I lack knowledge on Linux Red Hat. To advance I need to learn it, and I am a software and OS noob. Where would you recommend to start learning?
Here's a website for you. Roadmap.sh is it. Go down to the section that says Linux, and there's a massive, massive thing down there for you, which is a whole roadmap for learning anything related to Linux, which might be really helpful for you. I'm sure they have Red Hat stuff in there. If they don't, I'd be pretty surprised. Huge roadmap. Any of the sections in there can be clicked, and then all those little pieces can be clicked as well to learn any of those pieces you want.
Been suffering from social anxiety for a couple years now, and now it's starting to get to me.
Sorry
It's
to
the
hear that.
5th Christmas this year that I'll spend completely alone, and it's sad. I spend half the day on a job I hate and the other half playing video games to bury those feelings. It's probably a weird question, but how do I make friends? The people in my workplace are way older than me. I
Yeah.
don't even know how to talk to strangers.
Age makes social isolation a lot worse, honestly. I think one of the best things you can do is find some hobbies, no matter how mundane you may think those hobbies are, and do them. And you might find some other people that also like to do those. You don't have to seek people out, you just have to do things, whatever those things are. And you'll eventually find other people that also like doing those things. You meet them that way. It's not a thing that you have to force. It's not a thing you have to seek out. It's not a thing you have to bemoan. You just have to do what you think is fun. And you'll find other people that think that thing is fun too. That's it. It's a very easy process, but it's kind of esoteric if you've never done it before. you know, so I can understand. And understand you're not a failure. Not at all. It's a very difficult thing for a lot of people, especially if they've, you know, don't really have any basis for understanding it, or if they're around a lot of people that, like you are in a completely different age group than them, you know? It's kind of how it goes. You met your wife playing Final Fantasy XIV. Bingo. It's always funny to me where I meet people and they're like, I gotta get a girlfriend. I was like, no, you gotta go do stuff you like and find somebody that likes doing that stuff with you. Just do your hobbies, man. Things you like to do.
Good morning, Thor. Are you having a good stream so far?
I am.
Anyways, just popping in to ask something. I am planning on streaming for the first time in a long time at the end of next week.
Okay.
I am going to be modifying a controller and expect to have 0 viewers.
Okay.
How I can keep it interesting without any viewers so that I can upload it to YouTube afterward.
Just explain everything you're doing as if the audience had no idea what you're doing, because they likely don't, right? Tell them everything you're doing, why you're doing it, what makes sense, and have fun with it, you know? You're having a conversation with a person, whether that person's there or not. So have some fun. Have some fun, show off the thing that you're doing. I think it's cool. I think the idea of making a custom controller is cool shit. Have some fun with that, man. Do it. Do it. Yeah, don't be afraid of repeating yourself, too. That's true.
Howdy, Thor. I was recently informed through a coworker that a lot of my coworkers have been trying to get me fired from my job since I started in May. They have been nice and even invite me to things outside of work events, and I don't really know what to do. Have you been in this position? What did you do?
How do you know that coworker isn't lying to you? If those other coworkers are trying to invite you out to things and trying to be nice to you, how do you know that coworker isn't full of shit? I wouldn't trust that. I would do the job. And if you feel that negatively about it, apply other places. Don't get one guyed by someone at your office. I made that mistake once.
Hello, Pirate. Quick question. I got into Unity as a game dev hobby a few years ago, but I got really into it and ended up spending 10 to 12 hours a day for a month coding an old-style 2D RPG game and massively burned myself out.
Oof.
Any tips on this? I really want to get back into it, but it's acting as a mental block of sorts. Cheers.
It sounds like you didn't do it in moderation, man. That's really what that comes down to. Like, all you gotta do is do these types of tasks in moderation, because if you burn yourself out on it, you burn yourself out on it, right? Like, you don't want to push that hard.
Thor, I have returned to your stream from hospital once more as I deal with the COVID flu. The fever has dropped into the much more acceptable 104 degrees.
Jesus.
I'm glad I am getting healthier just in time for your retirement stream. Chat, reminder to donate plasma if able.
104 degrees is insane. That's wild. I'm glad you're doing okay. Yeah, my man is literally cooked, exactly. How much is that in Celsius? Too many. That's too many. Slow cooking, dude. In Celsius, that would be a cooked meatloaf, yes.